Hello everyone and welcome. This is Christine with Pattern Crafts, and today I'm here with a Scrapping for Less design team project. I'll be using this stamp set from Stamping Bella. It is called Winter Window. This stamp set has the two images as seen on the package and a sentiment. The two images are different sizes, and we will be using the larger winter window for today's project. So when I saw the stamp set, I knew I wanted to create a card that looked like you were looking outside of a window. So in order to kind of achieve that, I had an idea in my head how to make it all come together. There may be easier ways to do this, but today we are going to be stamping this image a few times, and we're going to be doing a lot of fussy cutting. So I am stamping this out on some white cardstock. I am stamping it out on some pattern paper, and then just the top there on another piece of white cardstock. I will bring this out again to stamp, but for now this is where we're at. So I am just coloring in the curtain rod to begin with, which is why I only stamped a portion of the stamp, because I just needed the top part for the curtain rod. Now for the pattern paper, I knew I wanted the curtains to be some sort of pattern, and I've been kind of on a kick on trying to use my pattern paper, so this was a great use of pattern paper. Curtains tend to sometimes have patterns and design, and so this was a great way to use some of that pattern paper and make a great card at the end. So I am just fussy cutting just the curtains. So for this card, we are going to end up layering this image a few different times. We're going to have our little curtain rod that will be one layer. We have the curtains that are another layer. Then we have kind of like what I call the main piece, where kind of everything gets put together, except that inside portion that shows the outside, that we're going to cut out on this, and we're going to kind of make it similar to a shaker card. So we're not adding shaker bits, but you'll see what I mean. So right now I'm taking an X-Acto knife because I need to cut all these little slits where the curtain rod is going to peek through. This was actually a fairly easy piece to cut out, and it's going to go on the curtain rod just like that. Now for this curtain rod piece, I don't really need to be too careful how I cut that, except for the end of the rod, because it's the only part that's going to show. The little gold parts that I already colored will show through the little slits there, but the cutting behind there doesn't matter. I usually always come through with a black Copic marker when I fussy cut things, just to kind of give it that finished look on the edges. That is what we're doing here, and then we will prepare to put this piece right over that. Now, because I want those lines to line up perfectly with the areas that I cut, I am using liquid glue because it will be easy to maneuver. And there's our curtains. And they'll go on just like that. Now for this piece here, I am cutting out this little middle area. Because again, think about how you're making a shaker card. This is kind of the look I'm sort of going for, minus the shaker bits. So I am just using an X-Acto knife again to just fussy cut this whole little area out. I didn't have to do that with the hill. I just kind of on a roll following lines, and that line went that way, so that's how it went. So this is kind of what I consider my main piece. This is where things are going to kind of go together. I'm not being very careful on how I'm cutting it, except for that last part on the bottom. Because I've already cut the curtains and the rod, those are all going to cover any sloppy cutting that I do. So I don't really need to be careful with that. So why take the time? It's not going to show. So I placed my window right up to the pattern paper that I'm using. To me, this is going to be my wallpaper to just cut out a hole big enough for my scene. So now that I have that part done, I'm just adding my curtains, and then I'm going to put that aside for a minute to dry and add some acetate to the back of this pattern paper. I will just be using some liquid glue again, just so if I need to move it, I have a couple of seconds to do that before it sticks into place. And I'm going to put those two pieces aside to dry because now I have to work on my actual winter scene. So I'm grabbing some more white cardstock and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that image again. And again, I'm not really caring how I cut this because the only thing that matters on this part is my winter scene outside the window. So I basically am only using 2 colors for the tree, 2 colors for the snow, and 2 colors for the sky. Again, I'll leave the exact colors in the description below. So I'm using just a darker green. I'm just kind of outlining where the snow is on the tree and then filling in with the lighter green. There's not a lot of large areas for shading on this tree, so kind of just using a dark to line where I want it to be and then filling in a little bit with that lighter green. Kind of gave it the look of shading. And for my snow, I'm using C3, C1, and then I do bring in a blender pen because I sometimes think that the C3 and the C1 are just a little dark. So that blender pen kind of takes some color away and softens those cool grays up just a little bit. Now for my sky, I am using just 2 of the blues. And again, just kind of being a little messy. I get a little too messy and a little too carried away because I do end up coloring over one of the little snowbanks, which I do try to fix with the blender pen and bring in a little bit of the C3 marker again. I think once the card's completely put together, unless I pointed that out, you probably wouldn't even know or would even care that I got a little sloppy there with the night sky. Here I'm bringing in my blender pen and the grays to try to fix that little area up. But at the end, it just kind of looks like a shadow. So once that's all set, my panel here with the acetate is dry, so I can just come in and add some foam tape because I do want it to have a little bit of dimension. Grabbing some 110-pound black cardstock for my card base. I was thinking about adding this piece directly onto my card base, but then I decided it might be really hard to line up that pattern paper with the window a little too much, so I'm actually going to bring that piece to this piece and then put the whole thing on the card panel after. So right now I'm just bringing in a white gel pen just to fill in those areas on the stamp that show the snow. So I'm going to go ahead and put my curtains and windowsill into place. Then I am going to take off all of my adhesive, like the backing for my foam tape, and go ahead and put this right on there. And then I'm just kind of coming in with some liquid glue to put that right onto my card base. Once that's on there, I realized I kind of neglected my little buttons on the curtains. I was trying to figure out how to get a little piece of ribbon on there because I thought it would be kind of cute, but I don't really have any ribbon that's small enough for that, so I'm just grab some dark green, trying to hope to cover the polka dots a little bit. So now I'm just adding my sentiment to the bottom, warm winter wishes, adding a little bit of sparkle because what card isn't complete without a little bit of sparkle. Just adding a white mat to the inside of my card. And that is it. That's today's project. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more and you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. But until next time, everyone, have a great day or night. Bye.